Welcome to the Stoic Quotient. Today we will discuss fear. It controls nations. It controls minds. It keeps people small, quiet, obedient. But what is fear? Have you ever truly asked yourself? Does it exist on its own? Or is it something we create? Something we attach to things, to people, to outcomes? Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." Fear is not a force of nature. Fear is a reaction, a relationship. It is the shadow of something we believe we might lose. And once you understand that, you become unstoppable. This is the story of a man who learned that lesson the hard way. There was a man named Elias. He had spent his entire life running, not from war, not from the law, but from something far worse, his own mind. He feared poverty, so he worked endlessly, stacking money like bricks to build himself a fortress of security. He feared failure, so he never took risks, never reached beyond what was safe, what was certain. He feared loss, so he kept his relationships shallow, never daring to love too deeply. His life was built on the avoidance of pain. And yet, despite all his efforts, the fear never left him. It sat in his chest, whispering in his ear, "Not enough. You are not safe. Keep running." Seneca once said, "We suffer more often in imagination than in reality." And so Elias did. He ran, until the day came when there was nowhere left to run. It happened all at once. A market crash wiped out his wealth. A business failure shattered his reputation. And in the midst of it all, the woman he loved, who he had kept at a distance, fearing the vulnerability of love, walked away. And just like that, the things he had spent his life protecting were gone. He sat alone in an empty apartment, staring at the walls, at the emptiness where his future used to be. And for the first time he asked himself, "What was I so afraid of?" He had spent years fearing the loss of money. Now it was gone. He had spent years fearing failure. Now he had failed. He had spent years fearing heartbreak. Now he was alone. And yet, he was still here. Epictetus wrote, "Man is not worried by real problems so much as by his imagined anxieties about real problems." Something inside Elias shifted. He realized, fear never protected me from loss. It only stopped me from truly living before the loss came. He had been imprisoned by fear, and the worst part? He was the one who had built the cage. Elias needed answers. He sought out an old philosopher, a man who had lived long enough to see the rise and fall of kings, the shifting tides of fortune, the fleeting nature of everything. The old man listened to Elias's story and then said, "You have spent your life fighting an enemy that never existed." Elias frowned. "What do you mean?" The philosopher continued, "Fear is not real. It is not a thing. It only exists in relationship to something, a thought, a loss, an expectation. It does not stand on its own. It is only a shadow of your own attachments." Elias felt something inside him crack. "Then what am I supposed to do?" he asked. The old man smiled. "You let it die. You stop feeding it. You stop giving it power over you." "How?" The philosopher leaned forward. "Accept what you fear. Face it directly. If you fear failure, fail boldly. If you fear loss, let go willingly. If you fear death, live so fully that when the end comes, you have nothing left to take." Elias sat in silence, absorbing the weight of those words. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "It is not death that a man should fear, but he should fear never beginning to live." Elias had spent his life running from fear. Now he would turn and walk straight into it. And so he did. He started over, not with desperation, but with curiosity. He built a new business, not for security, but for the love of the game. He entered relationships, not with caution, but with an open heart, knowing full well that love and loss are two sides of the same coin. He embraced discomfort. He embraced uncertainty. And the strangest thing happened. The more he faced his fears, the smaller they became. The more he walked into the storm, the less the thunder scared him. Because now he understood. Fear only exists when you resist reality. When you embrace it fully, Fear has no ground to stand on. Seneca wrote, "He who is brave is free." And now, Elias was free. The question you must answer now, ask yourself, what do you fear? Not in a vague way. Be specific. Write it down. What are you terrified to lose? Money? Status? Love? Life itself? Now look at that fear and realize it is only powerful because of your attachment to something. But what if you let go? What if you accepted loss, failure, even death itself? What would be left to fear? Nothing. And in that nothingness, you would finally be free. Marcus Aurelius said, "You could leave life right now. Let that determine what you do and say and think. So stop running. Turn around. Face it, and watch fear disappear." Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and hit the notification bell for more mindful insights. Thanks for watching The Stoic Quotient.